Greetings, one and all, once again, back to Exploring Arda, a Tolkien-centered podcast where I'm your host, Jackson, and I go through a bunch of Tolkien's works other than Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So, yeah, it's been I think a month since my last video, so it's been a long time, but I figured that now that it's kind of in the fall season, for me, I think of fall season as kind of a creative time, I suppose, but I also think of Lord of the Rings a lot. I don't know why. It's just I don't know. It's the fall season, time to watch Lord of the Rings a bunch. Plus, it's Hobbit Day pretty soon. Hobbit Day, September 22nd, so I'll be posting a little special video for that. And I figured I might as well read something, not really special, but just something different. I'll be reading from The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. Because I really enjoy his little poems and stuff like that. I'm reading right now from the Tales from the Perilous Realm. I know that Adventures of Tom Bombadil are kind of scattered for the sources and whatnot, but yeah, I'm reading from that. And I don't know, just wanted to kind of start the fall season off on a nice little positive note. And whenever I think of Tom Bombadil, he's kind of his little merry fellow. Very, very happy dude. So, yeah, starting the fall season off on a good note. So, yeah. And I think I'm just going to go right into it so that you guys can know what good old Tommy B is all about, so to speak. So, yeah, here we go. Adventures of Tom Bombadil. Old Tom Bombadil was a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket was, and his boots were yellow. Green were his girdle, and his breeches all of leather. He wore in his tall hat a swan-wing feather. He lived up under hill, where the withy windle ran from a grassy well down into the dingle. Old Tom in summer-time walked about the meadows, gathering the buttercups, running after shadows, tickling the bumblebees that buzzed among the flowers, sitting by the waterside for hours upon hours. There his beard dangled long down into the water. Up came Goldberry, the river woman's daughter. Pulled Tom's hanging hair, in he went a-wallowing, under the water lilies, bubbling and a-swallowing. And before I go on to the next page, actually, probably should have done this at the beginning, but there are really cool illustrations here. You can't see it too well, but yeah, there's good old Tommy B up here, and then Tom with, I keep calling him Tommy B, I don't know why, Tom Bombadil, and Goldberry. Very, very cool stuff. Which is also why I like this version. But, on with it again. "Hey, Tom Bombadil, whither are you going?" said fair Goldberry. "Bubbles you are blowing, frightening the finny fish and the brown water rat, startling the dab chicks and drowning your feather hat." "You bring it back again, there's a pretty maiden," said Tom Bombadil. "I do not care for waiting. Go down, sleep again where the pools are shady, far below willow roots, little water lady." Back to her mother's house in the deepest hollow swam young Goldberry, but Tom he would not follow. On knotted willow roots he sat in sunny weather, drying his yellow boots and his draggled feather. Up woke Willowman, began upon his singing, sang Tom fast asleep under branches swinging. In a crack caught him tight, snick, it closed together, trapped Tom Bombadil, coat and hat and feather. "Ha, Tom Bombadil, what be you a-thinking, peeping inside my tree, watching me a-drinking? Deep in my wooden house, tickling me with feather, dripping wet down my face like a rainy weather? You let me out again, old Man Willow. I am stiff lying here, there's no sort of pillow. Your hard, crooked roots drink your river water. Go back to sleep again like the river daughter." Willowman let him loose when he heard him speaking, locked fast his wooden house, muttering and creaking. Whispering inside the tree, out from Willow Dingle, Tom went walking up the withy windle. Under the forest eaves he sat a while a-listening. On the boughs piping birds were chirping and whistling. Butterflies above his head went quivering and winking, until gray clouds came up, as the sun was sinking. Then Tom hurried on. Rain began to shiver, round rings spattering in the running river. A wind blew, shaking leaves, chilly drops were dripping. Into a sheltered hole old Tom went skipping. Out came Badger Brock with his snowy forehead and his dark blinking eyes. In the hill he quarried, with his wife and many sons by the coat they caught him, pulled him inside their earth, down their tunnels brought him. Inside their secret house, there they sat a-mumbling. "Ho, Tom Bombadil! Where have you come tumbling? Bursting in the front door. Badger folk have caught you. You'll never find it out, the way that we have brought you." "Now, old Badger Brock, do you hear me talking? You show me out at once. I must be a-walking. Show me to your back door under briar roses. Then clean grimy paws, wipe your earthy noses. Go back to sleep again on your straw pillow, like fair Goldberry and old Man Willow." Then all the Badger folk said, "We beg your pardon." They showed Tom out again to their thorny garden, went back and hid themselves, a-shivering and a-shaking, blocked up all their doors, earth together raking. Rain had passed, the sky was clear, and in the summer gloaming, old Tom Bombadil laughed as he came homing, unlocked his door again, and opened up a shutter. In the kitchen round the lamp moths began to flutter. Tom through the window saw waking stars come winking, and the new slender moon early westward sinking. Dark came under hill. Tom he lit a candle. Upstairs creaking went, turned the door handle. "Ho, Tom Bombadil, look what night has brought you. I'm here behind the door, now at last I've caught you. You'd forgotten Barrow-wight, dwelling in the old mound, up there on the hilltop with the ring of stones round. He's got loose again, under earth he'll take you. Poor Tom Bombadil, pale and cold he'll make you. Go out, shut the door, and never come back after. Take away gleaming eyes, take your hollow laughter. Go back to grassy mound, on your stony pillow. Lay down your bony head, like old Man Willow, like young Goldberry and Badger folk in Barrow. Go back to bury gold and forgotten sorrow." Out fled Barrow-wight, through the window leaping, through the yard, over wall, like a shadow sweeping. Uphill wailing went back to leaning stone rings, back under lonely mound, rattling his bone rings. Old Tom Bombadil lay upon his pillow, sweeter than Goldberry, quieter than the willow, snugger than the Badger folk or the Barrow dwellers, slept like a humming top, snored like a bellows. He woke in morning light, whistled like a starling, sang, "Come, dairy dole, merry dole, my darling." He clapped on his battered hat, boots and coat and feather, opened the window wide to the sunny weather. Wise old Bombadil, he was a wary fellow. Bright blue his jacket was, and his boots were yellow. None ever caught old Tom in upland or in dingle, walking the forest paths or by the withy windle, or out on the lily pools in boat upon the water. But one day Tom, he went and caught the river daughter, in green gown, flowing hair, sitting in the rushes, singing old water songs to birds upon the bushes. Bushes. He caught her, held her fast. Water rats went scurrying, reeds hissed, herons cried, and her heart was fluttering. Said Tom Bombadil, "Here's my pretty maiden. You shall come home with me, the table is all laden. Yellow cream, honeycomb, white bread and butter, roses at the window sill and peeping around the shutter. You shall come under hill, never mind your mother. In her deep, weedy pool, there you'll find no lover." Old Tom Bombadil had a merry wedding, crowned all with buttercups, hat, and feather shedding. His bride, with forget-me-nots and flag lilies for garland, was robed all in silver green. He sang like a starling, hummed like a honey-bee, lilted to the fiddle, clasping his river maid around her slender middle. Lamps gleamed within his house, and white was the bedding. In the bright honey moon, Badger folk came treading, danced down under hill, and old Man Willow tapped at the window pane as they slept on the pillow. On the bank in the reeds, river woman sighing, heard old Barrow-wight in his mound crying. Old Tom Bombadil heeded not the voices, taps, knocks, dancing feet, all the nightly noises. Slept till the sun arose, then sang like a starling. "Hey, come, dairy dole, merry dole, my darling," sitting on the doorstep chopping sticks of willow, while fair Goldberry combed her tresses yellow. And yeah, that's the the first little poem, the first little story of Tom Bombadil. So nice, sweet, and short. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to read through the first adventures of Tom. And yeah, it kind of pretty much goes throughout some specific characters, obviously with Goldberry in the beginning, where he pretty much finds her at the lake. Well, I guess you could say the lake, or the pond, or river. Well, she is the river daughter, so it probably was a river. And pretty much I guess she pulls him in, and I guess he's kind of entranced by her sort of magic, her lure. And she's at first he's like, okay, well, you wait here for a little bit, you sleep for now, and she does. She returns back home and whatnot. And then after that, he goes and finds that old Man Willow, which I think it's basically just like a living tree entity, I guess, which is interesting but very, very cool. And yeah, Old Man Willow pretty much tries to trap him in his literally tree house, so to speak. But Tom's power, I guess, with his speech, he pretty much is just like, hey, let me go, like you can't do that to me. And then Old Man Willow's like, oh, sorry. Pretty much does exactly what he says. And then he I actually kind of forgot about the badger folk in this story. I forgot about the badgers, but it's really cool how he pretty much finds like a whole family of badgers inside of a little house, a secret house. And at first the badger's like, oh, we're gonna outsmart this guy, but it's Tom. So, and then after that is the infamous Barrow-wights. So everybody remembers the Barrow-wights. Well, I won't say everybody, but those who have read Lord of the Rings, I should say, and know about Tom will know about the Barrow-wights. And I guess this kind of also goes to show that he does have power over the Barrow-wights just by singing songs, just by rebuking them, by telling them that, hey, no, you can't do that, and you got to go away and stay in your hills and mounds with all your cursed treasure and whatnot. So creepy stuff, but Tom is not fazed. And then of course he goes back and pretty much comes back to Goldberry. I don't know why I was blanking on her name. And yeah, they just have a wedding, they're married, and pretty much all the other folk are trying to like bother them, but he's like, nope, not today. And yeah, and that's kind of it, where it's like, yeah, Goldberry and Tom end up together, and yeah, that's kind of all it really is. But I think it's just like more of like the fantastic tales, just the imagination running wild, I guess you could say. That it's like, it's a fun story. You don't really have to think too much on it. And I know that there's a lot of Tolkien scholars that, read into a lot of things, or, references, here, there. But like for me, like this show is all about just reading from the source and just having a good time. Like just reading this, just like Tom's having fun in his forest and the river and the hills and whatnot. Obviously, by the Barrow Downs, things like that. So he's just having a good time, and so should we. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the first little story of the adventures of Tom Bombadil. So I definitely did. Like I said, it's just a nice little happy story to kind of like, I guess, head into fall, which for me, fall is like the best season, I think. But of course I'm in the Midwest, so it's always different for people, but like I live in the Midwest area, and fall time's like the best, like 50s, 60s with like a little bit of breeze and whatnot. Doesn't get dark too soon, doesn't, it's a good time. And as you can see outside, I have it open. I usually don't have it open, but I feel like for now, for the next month or so, I'm going to have it open just because it's nice to have good natural sunlight. Lastly, if you guys are watching this and you guys were fans of Over the Garden Wall Project, thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me that so many people have enjoyed my Over the Garden Wall project. I'd been wanting to do that for a long time, of just the idea of novelizing the show, and so thank you guys so much for just supporting that video alone, just that video, because it was a passion project. And it kind of got me thinking where a lot of the stuff that I want to do, especially with like Grim Captivation, which you should totally check out as well, that I should go into like deeper dives and make, more in-depth content like that, because people seem to like it. So let me know if you guys are down for that, for Grim Captivation, if you've reached the end of the video or not. But yeah, just thank you guys for all the support. So it means a lot to me. So Yeah, I think with all that being said, just stay tuned for another episode. And may the light of Elbreth be with you all. Farewell.